Second, I'd like to take a moment and step back and share a quick word on the events of this weekend, the good and the bad alike. On one hand, this weekend we witnessed one of the largest peaceful demonstrations in American history. Nearly 5 million Americans took to the streets and made their voices heard against the rise of authoritarianism on our shores. I was proud to be one of them. We gathered in the streets, we gathered in front of state capitals, we gathered on beaches and in national parks and in cities and towns, big and small alike. For the most part, the demonstrations were peaceful. In some cities, there were acts of unlawful disruption, and those who broke the law should be held accountable. I've always been clear that the right to free speech is fundamental but must be exercised peacefully. But again, for the most part, the millions who marched this weekend did so peacefully. In many cities, there wasn't a single incidence of lawbreaking. In fact, the demonstrations were much more than just simply peaceful. They're inspiring. After all the attacks we have seen this year against our institutions and our values, it is so comforting to know that the roots of democracy run deep in this country. And even though we may disagree fiercely, the marches remind us we can stand up for our country and our democracy while still keeping the peace. What happened in Minnesota, however, should be a warning. Political violence is not just on the rise in America, it's becoming all too normal. And it falls on all of us to stop it. When lawmakers are shot in their own home, when a governor's mansion is set ablaze, when the spouse of the Speaker of the House is nearly beat to death, when a violent mob storms the U.S. Capitol, and when a gunman tries to assassinate the President of the United States, it is not enough to just condemn these acts and move on. We need to recognize something needs to change. Condemning violence is only the first step, necessary, but a first step. We must all work together to address violence's root causes. We must take a serious look at the toxic forces that are radicalizing too many Americans into embracing violence. Most of all, when violence strikes, the answer is for us to come together regardless of party. That's especially important for U.S. senators. Sadly, we didn't see that this weekend. I wish I didn't have to say this, but I was deeply disappointed and sickened to see a member of this chamber use the tragedy in Minnesota to take cheap political shots at the other side on social media and risk escalating a perilous moment. When the senior senator from Utah posted what the senior senator from Utah posted after the shooting was reckless and beneath the dignity of his office. For a senator to fan the flames of division with falsities while the killer was still on the loose is deeply irresponsible. He should take down his post immediately and apologize to the families of the victims. And this isn't even about politics. This is about simple human decency. Our divisions run deep, but we are still all Americans. We may disagree sometimes, many times, maybe most of the time, but we're still human beings. The victims this weekend, no matter what party they belong to, still leave behind kids who now will never speak to their parents ever again. So I say to my colleagues, now is the time to speak with moral clarity. Every single one of us must condemn political violence, no matter where it comes from, and to work together to eradicate its root causes. We cannot be silent, because silence only serves to enable more violence. And in the meantime, I will continue to work with Leader Thune, with the Capitol Police, the Sergeant-at-Arms, and all my colleagues to ensure the safety of every senator and our staffs. This is a dark moment for America, but I believe firmly in my bones we will endure.